computer. That's okay. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chakra Way Meditation Podcast. And today, another gorgeous chakra chat. And I'm very pleased to welcome Ulrika Karlsson. Hi, Ulrika. Thanks for coming and joining me today.
Hi, Roseanne, and thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward for this talk. So thank you for having me. And also thank you who are here and listen. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you will. I'm really excited because Ulrika is fascinating and has many strings to her bow. So rather than just pigeonhole her with one title, I'm going to let you, Ulrika, describe to everybody what it is that you do and all your amazing gifts. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I think also that is like, an existential question, right? That we are always pondering upon. Who am I? What is my mission? What I do here? So I think it's, under construction and development all the time. But what I do, my mission here on Earth this time is to guide people into their hearts and to an increased consciousness. To speak, that's the easiest way to say it. So I'm here to guide people back home into their hearts and to increase their awareness and their consciousness. And then I have a lot of different holistic tools to do so. So I work as a yoga therapist. I'm a tantrika. I do tantra. I'm into applied quantum physics. And then I also, I am a reader of the Akashic record. So I do a lot of soul readings, karma clearings, etc. And then also I work as an international author with at least 4 international books.
Amazing. I mean, there are so many. Honestly, I feel like we could do a whole episode on all of those things that you've just talked about. I want to everybody who listens knows that I'm nuts about learning about quantum physics and how that applies to our energy and our energetic body and the world. I'm fascinated, as I think most people will be, by tantra, because I think there's a lot of misconception about what tantra is. Yoga therapy, I'm obviously a yoga teacher, so I would love to know about that. And the Akashic records are something that I have heard much about. Let's start there, because that's the thing that let's try and get to all of them. But the Akashic records are, I don't know if it makes sense to go diving straight into what that is. I tell you what makes more sense is let's hear a little bit about your journey, about how you got to be where you are today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your story?
Thank you so much, Roseanne. So it started with, obviously, I haven't been, here all the time. It started with that I have had a severe depression and I was burned out, depressed, sleeping disorders, eating disorders, and I was suicidal. So 15 years ago, I was, that was 2008 was my worst year. I was really in a bad shape, and my mental and cognitive abilities were so affected. I was so sensitive of light and sounds. I was like a junkie. And at the same time, I was a mother of 2 young children. So yeah, so it started with me being suicidal, and that I was looking in the mirror in my bathroom every morning, thinking, is this the day that I'm going to end it all? Because I had pills for anxiety, pills for sleeping disorders, pills for other stress-related symptoms. I had pills for pain, etc., etc. So I was
a lot of medication.
Yeah, I never took them because when I tried the sleeping pills or the insomnia medications, it felt like my sleep was even worse. And I was also afraid of being, addicted to them. So I just took them very sporadically and very, not so frequent, because I was scared of, being where I was and also adding up an addiction and being, and also I'm a physiotherapist, so I know that medication doesn't take the root cause away. It just, sort of relieves you
That's
from
a
the
Band-Aid.
symptoms.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I truly wanted to go to the bottom, like, why is my life like this? Why do I feel the way that I do when when people could look at me and, be in the illusion that I had it all. I had a beautiful husband, I had 2 kids, I was successful with what I did, etc., etc. But on the inside, it was totally chaos.
Yeah, that's a deep place that's a big old hole to dig yourself out of. So what was the changing point? What was the turning point for you?
So I had a couple of turning points, and I'm gonna speak about it here while I'm showing. So this is my autobiography called 2:47 a.m. The Journey Home to My Heart, and the title is because 2:47 a.m. was the time when I woke up every night after only 15 minutes of sleep, where I was being murdered and tortured and slaughtered every night. So it was like a blood splattering movie every night before I woke up,
Wow.
totally disorientated. And then when I watched the alarm clock 2:47 a.m., I realized that I had only been sleeping for 15 minutes. So in here, I share very raw and honest about my journey, from darkness, from total darkness and depression and being suicidal and coming back into life and back into my heart. So here, there's a situation where one turning point was when I told my husband, because he never knew that I was being murdered next to him in my dreams in the nighttime. I never told him how bad I was in such a bad shape, how I felt. So I just told him that I was very, very tired. And so I retrieved to my parents' cabin in the Swedish archipelago, as I am from Sweden. And it was a winter's day, and I went there, my youngest daughter was about 3 months at the time, and I was breastfeeding. So I just left there for a couple of days because, I was in the illusion that I was going to sleep and yet that I needed some time away. And so there I am in the Swedish archipelago. It's winter. It's a beautiful winter's day, and I go out in the forest to walk because I feel something that I can't describe more than like a volcano that is about to erupt. And it scares me because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it's there. I don't know how to handle it. So I'm out there walking, and at the time I have eating disorders, etc. So I'm walking really fast, thinking also I can burn, some calories, being effective. And there, all of a sudden, I just feel this volcano sort of rising within me, and I walk even faster, trying to suppress it. And then all of a sudden, it's like such an intense pain in my heart. So it feels like I have a dagger, a knife through my heart, and I think that I'm going to die, that I'm having a heart attack. So I'm falling down into the snow, lying there in fetus position, all curled up and holding on to my heart because it felt like it was going to explode in a million pieces. And then I hear a snap, and I'm totally terrified. It's like, here I am. I'm going to die here in the forest. Nobody knows where I am. I didn't get to say goodbye to my kids. And even though that I wanted to die, to commit suicide, that was not the way that I wanted to do it all by myself in the forest. And then I just hear some really horrifying noises from far away. It feels like, primal screams from a dying animal. And I'm really, really scared. Not only am I gonna die from this heart attack, I'm also gonna be ripped apart, by a wolf or a bear or something. Until it shows that it's me. The howling, the groans, the primal screams, these horrifying sounds comes from a place deep within me that I didn't even know existed.
Wow.
And then I hear another snap, and I start to cry. It's like a dam bursting. So I'm lying there, and I'm losing track of time and space. And when I wake up many hours later, I realize that I'm lying there, for many hours because it's pitch black. And it's like all my senses are enhanced, so I can see the different shapes and forms, even if it's pitch black in the middle of the forest. and I can hear like snowflakes falling. The most weird thing that I experienced is like it, and I can best describe it as a stillness in expansion. It was totally still up in my head, in my monkey mind, and it was so still within me. And I knew that this was, I've never been there before. I've never experienced anything like that. And the pain was all gone. So that was like a profound turning point for me, coming to the realization that I as a soul wasn't sick or fucked up, but my programs had been really fucked up, and they had, taken me to this place. And so there's my long journey started to retrieve myself and to reclaim my pieces, like a broken vase, to reclaim all these different aspects and pieces of myself. So hence the name also, 2:47 a.m., the journey back home to my heart. The longest journey that I ever done, and I've traveled around the world. But the journey from moving from the head space down into the heart space was for me the most challenging and exhausting journey.
Yeah.
Also most rewarding.
I mean, this is a journey that we, many people are aware that they need to take, that they want to do. I mean, first of all, let's just rewind. What an extraordinary story, and what an extraordinary thing to have that intensity. Most people, when they have that kind of moment where they break, or they have that kind of, I suppose it could be seen as an awakening or even an enlightenment, where you kind of have, usually that comes incrementally, but for it to come crashing down on you in the middle of a snowy forest in the middle in Sweden is quite something. What an extraordinary story. And I think what my instant thing is, so from that, so you obviously you picked yourself up, you must have been frozen cold, and you got yourself back to your place where you were staying, and then the journey began. So this is where you start to pick up the tools that you've used to journey back towards your heart. So what was the first tool that you picked up that helped you begin to understand what was going on for you?
So at the time, I was already a yoga teacher and a yoga instructor, but I was way much into very masculine practices like Ashtanga and Hatha and power yoga that were really famous here in Sweden at the time. And I'm like was one of the first here in Sweden that started to do yoga. I have more than 28 years of practice. So, but at the time, I was really, into this masculine forms of yoga, which is devastating if you are burnt out. You can hear it even in your name that you have too much fire in your system. You have had too much fire, so you're totally burned out. And then you do this masculine yoga that is, the aim for this yoga is to increase your inner fire. And
it's petrol on the fire, really, isn't it? And that's
exactly.
Yeah.
So I had to look for different other modalities, and I had a friend of mine. She said to me, look here there's yoga for depressed people, maybe you should start there. And I started there, and I was only doing like a basic course, and then the teacher told me, okay, so I have one spot left for the teacher training and their yoga therapist training, do you want it? And here I am, all burnt out, or like suicidal, no money. That was also the year when I was in this bad shape. My husband decided he didn't want to stay married to me anymore, and we had like 2 death cases in my family, like grandpa and grandmother. So this was the year where everything was upside down, and I didn't have any money. I was so burnt out, and a single mom taking care of 2 kids.
Yeah.
So I told my teacher that, I would love to, because I could sense when I was there in this basic 10-week course, I could see some light in the tunnel, the metaphor of that. But, and then he said to me, so if you want it, just say you want it, and then the universe will, conspire to help you.
Yeah.
So I did. And then I got back the same amount from my business, because it showed that I've been, you know, in my mental illness, I was sick at home, but I was still paying taxes. So I got back the same amount that this like 1.5 year teacher training cost. So that was my investment in myself, because I could feel and I could see the light of the tunnel. So this is what I wanted to explore.
Yeah.
So I undergo this course, and then the very last week when we had our teacher training into yoga therapists, then comes a guest teacher, and she, you know, when I did her yoga, it was so much more feminine. It really resonated with me. And she said, okay, so I'm starting a new teacher training, you know, in a couple of weeks. I have one spot left. She said, do you want it? And I was like, oh, I would love to do it, but I don't have the money, and you know, I'm a single mom, and who's gonna watch out for my kids, and etc. And she said, well, just come down for the weekend and, you know, try it out. So there I am trying it out. And even though that in the first teacher training I could see the light of the tunnel, but it was still very much in the masculine energy. It was very much, you know, in the young energy. And this energy was so much, you know, like a warm embrace from your mother, or, you know. So after that weekend, I was like, oh gosh, I really, really, you know, want to do this course, not to be another teacher training and to do a lot of courses for others, but for me.
Yeah.
And then so I called my parents, and they're like, oh, another teacher training, you know, how long are you going to be doing this for? Because at the same time, I was in therapy, I was in stress management, from hospital, and I was in investigation for my sleep. So they were like, okay, so how long are you going to be doing this for? And I'm like, I don't know, you know, until I'm better, you
As
know.
long as it
I need to
takes.
be function for
Yeah.
my kids. And
Yeah.
if I'm dead, I'm of no use to nobody, you know. So if I'm alive, at least, you know, I can take care of myself and my kids. So I said yes to that spot, and then I got back the exact same amount that this another 1.5 year costed, and I got it back from an insurance that I didn't even know that I had when I was working as a preschool teacher.
Amazing.
So it was like divinely guided all the time, and yet at the same time, when I was, you know, in the midst of it, I never felt like I was divinely guided. I felt very separated, very alone, very isolated, very scared, you know.
Yeah.
So
I love hearing these stories, because I feel like it's so encouraging to hear that these proofs that the universe, you know, because people, it's very easy to say, oh, the universe will provide, you know, you just set your intention and you want to do something and it's meant to be, then it will happen, something will come along. And so it's just gorgeous to hear these stories that's exactly what's happened for you. And I'm really also interested about your about this move away from the more masculine types of yoga to the more yin feminine side of yoga, because that's definitely a transition that I've been making over the last few years. You know, as an Iyengar trained teacher, that's probably one of the most masculine. It's like, you know, you will put your foot here and you will, you know, this is the exact shape that everybody, you know, doesn't matter what your body looks like or what it will allow, but this is the exact thing that you're trying to get to. Very results driven, ambitious type of yoga, which is, you know, has its place in terms of learning alignment and learning the poses and so on. But this moving towards a more feminine, ease-filled, generous, loving, oh, I do apologize for my bing bongs. That is definitely the direction that I think that yoga should be going in, and that's definitely the direction that my yoga is going in, for sure. Finding that, you know, yoga is for everybody. Every different body needs to be able to do this, and it needs to be feeling good. It needs to feel good. It needs to feel comfortable. Why do you push yourself
sure.
into an uncomfortable, challenging place that your body's screaming at you? No,
For
that's
sure. So so from all of my teacher trainings, I've been studying yoga and other holistic disciplines for more than 28 years. So I've actually, you know, like a smorgasbord, I've developed my own kind of yoga after my own experience of being so burned out and being so, you know, depressed and this state of mental illness. Because even though that if you do like yin yoga and that you're resting in a pose for 3 to 5 minutes, if you have too much fire, or if you are too depressed or too burned out, if you have too much pain, you know, physically, mentally, or emotionally, even yin yoga is too heavy for you, because even though it feels good for you to open up in this position, lying there for 3 to 5 minutes, but then it will be like a boomerang hitting your you know, the back of your head afterwards, because then you will have like backlashes, or you will have even more pain. The pain will increase, because as you lie there and it feels good, maybe you are crossing over your own boundaries, very subtle, you know, at the present moment, and then it comes back lashing at you in the end. So that's why I've developed, and the yin yoga is very static and very cold in its energy.
Yeah.
So I developed yoga for empaths and for highly sensitive persons, and a hormone yoga for lust and sensuality, with the energy of more lush, warm, and nurturing feminine energy. So
No, I'm with
this
you.
yoga is really, yeah. So and this yoga is, it is so soft, so gentle, it is so nurturing, and yet is so potent. It is so powerful. And I also, like, as I write a lot about in my books, I'm writing a lot about, you know, different kind of energies and holistic approaches and so on. And what we see in the world today is that there has been too much emphasis on young energies, that we are going to be effective, to be productive, to be good girls, good boys, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that masculine energy has been so predominant for so many years, for generations now, that we've forgotten that beautiful divine feminine energy that is juicy and luscious and luxurious and sensual and just oof, all of those
For
gorgeous,
sure, for
yeah.
sure. And also we are living in, upholding and maintaining what I call the unconscious energies of the immature feminine and immature masculine. Like, just take a look how the world is today, you know, where we have our focus. So we also, so one essence of what I call the immature or unconscious feminine is manipulation, for instance. And just, you know, take a look at the world as we know it for these past couple of years. We can see the manipulation everywhere, and that is the immature feminine essence. And each and one of us have it within us, you know, yin and yang. And then we have the very immature and unconscious masculine energy, which could be, for instance, you know, always being on the go, on the move, in a project, being the good girl, the good guy, etc. So when we are running around in the hamster wheel, and when we are suppressing, you know, so many different and sensitive part of us, we are upholding the same energies that we want to change. So not only do we need to invite more of the feminine and the masculine, but they need to be in the more conscious energies of the feminine and more conscious energies of the masculine.
Yes.
And one example of a conscious masculine energy could be clarity, right? To see through your own illusions, your own bullshit, to see through the bullshit that is provided, you know, from mainstream media, from all over societies and cultures, to see through
All the
the bullshit
stories
and
that
the
we tell
illusions.
each other, and we tell it
Exactly.
all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this clarity is like a sword that can cut through all these veils and illusions of bullshit. And then we need, you know, the mature feminine essence with it, which is unconditional love. And we haven't been taught unconditional love. We have always been taught conditioned love. Like, if you love me, then I love you. If you finish your food, then you will get dessert. If you do this, then you will get that. So it's like a trade for love, where we all want to be acknowledged, loved, you know, and included.
Yeah.
So
That conscious feminine and masculine is a really fascinating exploration, and one that I think is becoming more in the common vernacular, people talking about it. And I know that there's a lot more and for me, from what I see and what I feel, that, you know, we need to be more in touch with that conscious feminine, because the world has been so masculine for so long. And so working to finding that juicy feminine energy, that nurturing, unconditional, empathetic, intuitive side of ourselves, is not going to be done by doing, you know, really powerful back bends. We need to do that and we're talking yoga. We need to do that in really listening to the body and really tuning in to what it feels and what it wants and where we're holding our energy.
For sure. And also that's why one of my books, which is actually assigned as the book of the year by its readers, it's called Holy Fuck in Sacred Water, The Secret Connections to Everything.
I love this. What do you address in Holy Fuck and Sacred Water? This is a fascinating, brilliant title.
Yeah. So do you want me to read the backside of it?
Yeah, go for it. What does it say?
Holy Fuck in Sacred Water, The Secret Connections to Everything is bold, cocky, and politically and socially incorrect. It is divinely channeled and imprinted with sacred codes. This book will either have you say fuck yeah, or it will piss you off, or maybe even both. This book is not for the common man or woman. It is for a new generation of brave, passionate, and curious beings who know they came to Earth to make a difference and are ready to take action now. The new era has arrived, and with that, more confusion and fear than ever before. This book reactivates a path of releasing the old so we can co-create a new, thriving future together. It contains very raw and vulnerable personal stories, scientific information, ancient wisdom, taboo topics, and conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
This book can help you to understand the importance of purifying your own inner water and using your passionate fire to live your true potential. Holy fucking sacred water could be considered a theory of everything. Life is a multidimensional journey to master empowerment, freedom, and flow in our everyday lives. We can master these by unifying our inner spark with the sacred water. This then creates the magical life force within us, or what we call the holy fuck.
I love that, Ulrika. And do you know what? As you're reading that, you are, in my eyes, because obviously I'm a huge lover of the chakras, and for me, you're just embodying all the best stuff from the sacral chakra, the Svadhisthana chakra, where we hold water is the element. It's all about flow and sensuality and emotion and passion and our desires and needs and all of those kind of things that we suppress with that fire. It sort of burns the water away. I always like thinking about the elements that live there, because obviously at the root you've got earth, and then you've got water at the sacral, fire at the solar plexus, and air at the heart. And that fire that sits in the middle, you know, you can either use the air of your breath and the self-love to bolster that fire if your fire is weak, or you use the fun and the passion and the sexuality and the water to dampen that fire down. So I completely see what you're doing here with the sacral chakra energy, this divine feminine, gorgeous, juicy, sexy stuff, and getting that to balance out that fire that we are so that society almost demands of us, that we put forward as our first thing, you know, walking into whatever situation, we lead with that rather than with that more feminine side. It's a fascinating sounding book.
Sure, yeah, it's very fascinating, very exciting, and it is also, you know, alternative truths from what we have been presented in the illusion of the matrix these past years. So, and also the holy fuck, it started as a book about sacred sexuality, really, but it grew upon us, and we have realized, we could see the connection, the entanglement, yoga connection, quantum physics entanglement. We could see it so clearly in a perspective that we had never seen before. Like we were even, is this a stretch? Because we are also moving from different perspectives and multidimensional aspects, like, on a cellular level, all the way out to the universe and back and forth. So the holy fuck is anything where new potential is created, even on a cellular level, when
I want to
the spark, yes.
Scientific side of it, like speak to it a little bit about that quantum physics side of it, in relation to what you're talking about, because I feel like, when you keep coming back, you're going into cellular level, I'm like, yes, that's the quantum physics bit. So just go in a little sidebar down into that little beautiful wormhole for me.
So we know that we contains of more than 75% of water, right? But here's the thing, our inner water is so polluted. It is so polluted by our lifestyles today, how we live, how we act. Not only that we are polluting the outer oceans, lakes and streams, etc., with chemicals, medications, with, our stressful lives, we are polluting our inner water. We are polluting it with our mindsets. We are polluting it with our diseases, not being at ease, with being out of alignment with our chakras, with our energetic systems. We are polluting it in our mindset, and that we are focusing on these unconscious energies of the feminine and the masculine. Oh, if only, I'm in my ideal weight, or if only I had more money, or if only I'm more successful, or, and we are running around in the hamster wheel.
Yeah, my life will begin when, all of those kind of things, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly.
When.
So we are polluting ourselves with our mindset, because we know that we only have access to 5% of consciousness. We are run by 95% of unconscious programs, and these programs are stored within our sacred water. They're stored on a cellular level, in our DNA, in our fascia, in our blood, etc., everything that is connected to the water elements. So here we are, living our lives, always striving, moving, fast, preferably, because we want to have quick fixes and etc. So we are numbing ourselves, we are distracting ourselves with everything that we can use. We can also abuse sex, medication, drugs, alcohol, work. Like in our countries, it's very good to be a workaholic. You're considered to be, productive, effective. People look up to you, but on the contrary, a workaholic is a very imbalanced root chakra.
Yes.
Yes.
And an overactive solar plexus too.
Yeah, exactly. So we are upholding these pollutions, these illusions, these deep programs, 95% of our unconscious programs that are stored within our bodies. So when we start to clear out our inner water, and I don't mean only drinking clear water. I mean truly clear out our memories from past lifetimes, hence, the karma clearings in the Akashic record, etc. So when we clear out our inner shit, then we have access to high states of consciousness. We can make more conscious choices, and we can, go back to basic, go back to nature, because we are natural beings. We are from nature. All the elements we see out there exist in us. So to reclaim a more natural and synchronized, and sustainable way of living that we are now. So that's why we are so fucked up in our inner water, that we are, we are, as souls, we're not fucked up, but our programs, our inner water. And then the inner water, there you have the feminine essence, and then this spark, like when the neurons are firing, there's like an ignition, the spark, the masculine spark. So the black void, like the uterus, is the void, the space for unraveled potential, like the space out there you know, like the Big Bang. It said that it started, you know, from out of nowhere. There was this spark and then everything exploded. So we need the masculine, we need the feminine, but as they are now, they are, you know, separated, imbalanced, they are in the conscious lower vibrational energies. We need to have the conscious feminine, the divine conscious masculine, and they need to merge in a holy fuck.
Yeah.
So we are all holy fucks, you know, we are holy fucks. We can create holy fucks because we need the polarities. We need our brain, you know, to come up with new, better ideas on how to make a sustainable world. But we need our hearts, you know, our unconditional love. So when we clear out our inner pollution from, you know, from generation, from 10,000s of years of pollution from our sacred water, then we will gain access to previous lifetimes where we all, you know, had so much wisdom. We were all goddesses, gods, kings and queens. We were sorcerers from source.
Absolutely.
So within ourselves, in our DNA, within our water resides, you know, like a treasure box.
The memory of that is
Memory, yes, because the water comes with codes. And now our codes and our water are so polluted, so we need to clear it out.
So I know that some listeners will be going, okay, great. So how do I do that? And your answer is, I mean, one of the things that you mentioned here, and I mentioned right at the beginning that I do want to focus on now, is the Akashic records, because you mentioned them a couple of times, and I think that for a lot of, you know, for me, it's a new idea, the Akashic record. So can you just talk me through what they are and how you use them in this clearing out of our internal stuff, shit?
Yes, thank you. So many people, first of all, the Akashic record is like Google for the soul. So everything that has ever existed, everything that was a probability to exist, everything that will exist or is a probability to what will be, exists in our Akashic record. That is the eternal, the infinite part, the godlike part of each and one of us that is, you know, from source.
It's all potential. When you say that, it sounds to me like it's all potential.
It is. It is. So,
Yeah.
so in my latest book called The Sacred Soul, A Divine Evolution Through Time and Space, and this book is also here to reactivate a path and for us to remember who we are on a soul level. Because many people think that I believe that many people believe that they have a soul, right?
Yes.
But it's not that we have a soul. We are a soul and we have a physical body. So it's the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our souls are the infinite godlike particles originated from divine source. That means, so if we are from divine source, then we are divine and we are divine creators. But we have forgotten about it because as we are running around in matrix, in the rat race, we don't remember that we are these grand souls, you know, these master creators.
Yeah, these beautiful ancient spirit energies that have so much knowledge and so much potential. Yeah.
Exactly. And so the Akashic record, you know, also resides within our inner water, right? Because as the soul resides in our bodies, as the body is the temple for the soul, right? So that means that the Akashic record also resides partly within us, and we can retrieve information from our water, but we can also bring it down, you know, from cosmos, from universe, as their water particles. And also, if you're imagining, I love chocolate. I don't know what you were saying, but I love chocolate. So imagine a 10-layer chocolate cake, and we live in the matrix on the third layer of the chocolate cake. Our bodies are here in the third layer of the chocolate cake. Our minds are still energy, but not tangible, not so dense as our physical bodies. So they are like in the fourth dimension. And then the fifth dimension, or the fifth layer of the chocolate cake and above, that is the realms of the soul, right? So when I do a karma clearing, I tune in to the fifth dimension and above. And the higher the frequency, the higher the dimension, the less separation. So that means that I can retrieve information from all dimensions when I tap into your soul and when I do a karma clearing. And then I get the information from your soul saying, okay, so I used to be in this, in this lifetime. Here I started to do negative choices, which we all have. We have all killed people. We have all been perpetrators. We have all been victims. And these energies we are still transmitting from our unconscious programs. We are transmitting it into the collective consciousness. So each and one of us are responsible for the mess that we see in the world today, because it's our subconscious and unconscious programs that are being, transmitted. So when I do a karma clearing, it's only with your consent, because then I'm your representative, to have your consent to move into the Akashic record. And there I get a lot of information. And then I can trace it back, since these dimensions, the lines, the veils between them are so thin. So you retrieve information from all these different dimensions at the same time. And then you can trace it back, because there's no time in the Akashic record. Time is like also an illusion that we have invented here in the third layer in the matrix. Yes. So then you can see where people started to make negative choices. And negative choices is almost always that you have killed somebody, And eventually, so many of us killed the people in wars, etc. So we fell as souls. We fell in frequency. We fell in vibration. And this is what we see in the collective consciousness now, is that we are now again, this is the great awakening.
Beginning to rise. And
we need to come back to who we are on a soul level, because when I am aligned with who I am on a soul level, there's no these dense feelings like fear, scarcity, poverty, lack, etc. Because then we are what we are, which is infinite unconditional love. So this book is also here to remind us, who we are on a soul level. And I write a lot about like karma clearings, and I write about the dissension of energy and vibration, which took us, into the mess that we see in the world today. And I'm also writing about the ascension, the necessary ascension. And not all of us are going to participate in this journey.
Yeah. This is what I hear a lot, is that there are some chosen people sort of beginning to be upgraded to sort of 5D and getting these messages. But I think that there is a lot of people whose just general awareness, if we just keep it on an everyday level, I think that there are a lot of people whose awareness of what the kind of things that you're talking about is beginning to expand and beginning to make sense to people. I think 20, 30 years ago, people would be like, what are you talking about, you absolute Looney Tune, get out, but now people are like, okay, I'm more open. And it's a really beautiful thing to see that and to feel that happening. So when you do a karma clearing, is that like, could I book a karma clearing with you and you do it on Zoom and stuff? How does that work for you?
So I need a couple of things from you to do your karma clearing. And this is also important to know. So if somebody's saying, oh, I've been into your Akashic record and I see this and that, then you know that they haven't. Because first of all, you need to give it the consent, right? And then I need a couple of things from you, like your given name, your birth name, now your, where are you born, etc., etc. And then when I have this information, I tune in to your soul and I ask, hi, do I have permission to enter your Akashic record? And I've always gotten a yes. I've never received a no. And then I, sort of gather this information that is just pouring from your soul, gathering a lot of information. And then I can see where, you started to make these negative choices, and the programs that are still running in your energetic system as a result of those negative choices you made many lifetimes ago. So then I see it, and then I sort of sort this information out, and then I give you the feedback. I found that you, Roseanne, you're from a star, like I am from a star called Vega. So I'm a Vega, and it's a pretty rare soul group, and we are here to inspire and to guide people into higher states of consciousness. So when I do this, I'm aligned with who I am on a soul level. And when in my lifetime, when I didn't, that's why I got so sick, because I was misaligned. I was, disconnected from my soul's mission. So then I give feedback to you that I see that you are from this star, this planet, and here are the traits of this planet. So you get to know the traits and also the challenges, like the polarities exists there also, because we cannot be a star if there's not, we cannot see the stars if it's not dark at night, right? We cannot see the stars if it's bright daylight all the time.
Yeah.
So we need the polarities. Again, we need the feminine and the masculine. We need the yin and the yang, the light and the darkness, etc. And then I'm also telling you, the essence, your soul's blueprint. This is the building bricks, the energetic building bricks of your soul. And then I give you instructions how to clear out your karma. And then the work is up to you. I've provided you with all the insights, all the information, all the tools that you need. And then it's up to you to activate your own karma clearing.
Wow. It sounds super powerful, and
it is
really interesting.
It is.
And having that awareness is just, I'm presuming that having that awareness is the first step towards the healing and the clearing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And it's a game changer. It's very, life transformational reading. And one reading takes maybe between 7 to 10 hours for me, as I do, depending on the information that wants to come through from your Akashic record. And then, so I give it to you as a feedback. And it's, when I did my own karma clearing many, many years ago, it was like, wow, it just blew my mind, because then I knew why I had done the choices that I had done that made me so sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and my whole life just changed, for the better after knowing who I am and being aligned with, the building bricks of my soul's essence, the blueprint of my soul. And this is also like, for each soul that I get to do a karma clearing for, this individual transmits this new higher frequency out to the connected consciousness.
Yeah, exactly, which is beautiful. And so I know, because everything you've talked about is so beautifully interconnected, because all of this stuff is. But tell me briefly how Tantra fits into this work that you do, if it does, or if it's a slightly different arm to what you do.
No, I think that everything is connected and entangled. And in my business, I don't know about how you perceive it, Roseanne, but for me, many people with alternative, medicine or yogis, they are very much in the what I call mental spirituality, very mental spirituality. And that means that you're doing a spiritual bypass. So the sexuality, it's again associated with the second chakra, with the sexual chakra, with the water element, and with, for us women, our uterus, our ovaries, our yonis, our pelvis, and the water element. So to connect your spirituality with the ignition of your sexuality is like a highway to source, or it's like, the shortest cut, the biggest quick fix to who you are. Because if we neglect our temples, our bodies, our sexuality, and again, our sexuality is so polluted in the Western world, we have one night stands, we're disconnected from our hearts, and when we are disconnected from our hearts, being, in sexual relationship, it damages. our chakra system. It damages our soul. And, you know, people have sex here and there, and the
Not to
heart is
mention
separated.
the amount of porn that is watched in this world.
Exactly. Hardcore porn that many young people are watching, you know, and you don't have any adults to talk to. So to find and reclaim again the sacredness of the sexuality, the holiness, and then to combine it with, you know, because everything that is stored within the body, these past lifetimes where we did negative choices, past lifetimes where we were gods and goddesses, everything is stored in the body, in our DNA, in the water element, in our cells. And if we want to clear it all out, we cannot just use, you know, the mental aspect of it, put it in a bubble and blow it away, because that's the spiritual bypass. We need to move through the body, with the body. Exactly.
You need to embody it. Absolutely. And that sacred sexuality is such a, you know, I think when you understand, and maybe we can do another episode. I would love
that. Yes.
I'd love to do another episode, maybe just on sacred sexuality, because I think that it is, once you understand a little bit about tantra, a little bit about sacred sexuality, it will change your attitude from going, yeah, actually just, you know, some satisfying, you know, flesh slapping is not you know, that is no longer satisfying. And in fact, it's that very beautiful exchange of energy, which is what tantra is all about, and sacred sexuality.
For sure. Yeah, let's do another episode and talk about that, because that's also, you know, such a big and still taboo topic. And what we are fighting about, you know, in the world, individually, in couple relationship, in the world, is money, you know, sexuality, and then religious, or, you know, our perceptions. So it's a huge topic, and also one topic that is also polluting our inner water.
Wow, Ulrika, you've given me so much to think about, and such a fascinating conversation. But I feel, and we could literally talk for like another 3 hours. I know it, but I think we're going to come back and do another one. Will you come back and do another sacred sexuality chat with me? Because
I would love that. I would love that.
Yes. Let's get juicy. Okay, perfect. Thank you for all of your gorgeous wisdom and for sharing your books. Now, your website is just Ulrika Karlsson, am I right?
It's Ullis Karlsson. It's my nickname. So it's www.ulliskarlsson.com. So it's ULLISKARLSSON.com.
Well, I'll put the link to that in your show notes, and presumably that's the best way for people to find your books as well, is just through your website.
Yes, they're all there, and karma clearings are there if they want to have one. And I would love to do your karma clearing, Rosanna.
I would love for you to do my karma clearing. I was just thinking, once I press stop record, I'm going to go, right, let's set this up. So thank you. I'll say thank you. And if you have any comments about this, please get in touch, and please get in touch with Ulrika, who has an incredible special energy. So thank you for joining me today, Ulrika.
And thank you for having me. And also thank you who are listening. And I just want to finish by saying, if there's like one word that I'm saying that is resonating with you, one sentence or one word, then it's like ripple effects in the water. And I've paid back a part of my karma. And that's also what literally saved me, my life, back there. And then I listened to somebody was on Oprah Winfrey show, and I don't remember what was said or who it was, but there was something that was said that day that didn't make me to commit suicide. So if there's something that I'm saying here today, you know, that sort of ticks something or resonates something deep within you, then it's like paying it forward. So thank you for having me, and thank you for listening.
You're very welcome. Thank you.